Yes.
How is it that even though you have a shirt that says I clicked the button,
Yeah.
I say 3, 2, 1, click, and I click, and then I hear a second later, click.
I click when you say click. So, I mean...
No, you click after I say click.
No, I mean...
And I'm counting down, so it should be 3, 2, 1, 0, and you should know to click on 0.
Well, I mean, Dan, there might be a delay in a little bit of
There is no delay.
There might be.
I have quantum fiber internet. There's no delays.
I do not, so maybe there might be a delay. So when you say click I click...
Oh, you have Comcastic.
I have Comcastic, which is bombastic. Delay. There's
no delay. Stop it.
What? Wrong.
Well, welcome to another fine edition of Funny Book Forensics, where we have the greatest intros ever, brought to you by Greg Smith, who brings you the greatest intros of all time. If you're still listening, we're here.
Yes, we are. Right here, right now.
Yeah, and hitting your cues is always like acting like there's a delay. I'll say something to you, and then you'll pretend like there's a delay. Really, it's just your lack of ability to respond to any sort of verbal cue in the entire podcast.
What are you talking about?
You heard what I was talking. Now you can magically respond to it by going, "What am I talking about?" Like, it's uncanny. The things you choose to respond to and the things you don't choose to respond to.
Choose to...
Like, if I ask you about a character, you're like, I don't know. I'm just going to be quiet.
Yeah. So?
Then that doesn't... This is an audio medium.
I don't know everything that you know about everything that is ever written, so I might have a slight delay in my brain where I'm trying to recall something that I do know about the thing that you're asking about. So
you're an esteemed comic book writer.
Yes. But
yes, I'm not. You should know everything.
I don't know everything. I let the listeners know that all the time. I am not a smart person.
Well, I mean, it's fairly obvious if you just listen to you. But
it's true. I'm not.
This is where I'm going to get in trouble for picking on you. So
no, that's fine.
I'm going to stop now.
You've done it all our lives.
Wow. This is not... One, that's just maybe is true, but I think if there was like a percentage time picked on versus picked on.
Yes. It's shared.
Yeah.
Equal.
Well, you've been catching up. Like, let's just say that.
Well, I'm making up for lost time. I mean, you lost
that's
all
fair.
the recording, all of the old podcasts, so we're just trying to make up for all those podcasts that we lost.
The first 246.
Yeah, and now we've recorded the same podcast over and over again.
I see we're bringing back that gimmick.
No, well, I mean...
Well, that's mostly because you don't have a fan that works on your computer, and you had to reconfigure your entire office.
Yeah.
And now, instead of seeing random posters in the background, I just see a NASA hat.
Yes. I mean, hey...
I see that you've picked up the yoga mats, though, so that could mean you actually exercised.
I did. That's what I was between applying for conventions and other things today. I did all my workouts and everything I needed to do to help my body get better and stronger, just as you and jiu-jitsu lawyer Paul had told me to do.
No, that's good. So you need to do that.
I stay on the course and on the path.
Well, we're here, and we're not covering Hitman.
We're not covering Hitman. That is correct. We are not.
Yeah. Despite the fact that I said we were covering Hitman like half of the time on the last podcast.
And I looked at you like, I don't think that's correct. But, I mean...
But you didn't bother to correct it. You just let it continue. Because you were talking about me picking on you, and there you just let it go. You could have said, no, Dan... You said the wrong thing.
You said it.
It's the human target.
You said it.
But instead, you just let it keep going.
You said it was such strong and just such commitment that I was like, this must be something he has chosen. We're doing. I guess we're not reading the thing that we have been reading. We're reading something different. So
okay. Wow. Well, that's that. Okay. I mean,
I figured it was a fight. I wasn't worth fighting because I was gonna lose anyways.
it wasn't. What are you? You're making up stories. This is insane.
I know.
Well, we're here, I guess, to cover the human target again, because you don't know we covered it before.
It's true.
Because of Greg's hideous fan on his computer.
The hideous fan on the computer. Oh, the noise.
That is no more. And it was horrible.
It was. I apologize,
I don't know
everybody.
what happened.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I even replaced the fan, and it's still it's just overpowered computer that just loves to just get noisy.
Well, we're about to cover the human target again.
Yes.
But new for the first time.
New for the first time, just for you.
And in the human target, we're going to cover this one's by Tom King and Greg Smallwood.
A fantastic pair.
Yeah. Did you know that Peter Milligan wrote a human target comic book in 2002?
I did not know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
And he was created by some guy named Len Wein.
Oh, really? I think we might have read a Len Wein book or two in the past.
Nah.
No?
No.
No, never?
No. According to Marvel and Disney, he didn't really create anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just, exclude him from things. Just...
Yeah. I mean, well, honestly, Timberwolf... We know he didn't create Timberwolf, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Never happened.
Really, I do think Wolverine was created independently, but then Claremont... words today.
Words taste like peaches, and peaches
I
are
don't
not
know.
words.
Artists, people... Yeah.
Artists, people.
It just happens.
Writers.
Yeah. Make things and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool things. Someday soon, I don't know when, but we'll advertise it, I'm sure. I'm going to be on another podcast talking about things.
Oh, yeah? Where's that podcast going to be?
It will be it'll be a podcast called Saturday Morning Cartoons, Comics, and Cereal.
Oh, that sounds pretty neat. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'll be pretty boring because the cereal I ate was pretty pathetic. Most of the time I was eating Cheerios or Wheaties or things with no sugar, or those cereals that came in the bags from Mega Foods.
The big bags of cereal. Yes, the low shelf finds.
And it would be like Flaky Frost or something like that, or
some weird bunches of
Smack
words.
and Sugar.
Yeah. It's pretty much my cupboard was full of that stuff. My dad was big on the big
Frosty
bags.
Smacks. Frosty Smacks.
Frosty Smacks. Yeah, it was never the boxes of something with a prize inside. It was the bag of endless amounts of cereal that had sugar and still tasted like cardboard.
Couldn't they just call the ones cornflakes though?
I think so. I think
the generic was cornflakes and the regular was cornflakes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't. It's just they lost the rights to cornflakes.
Cornflakes were disgusting. They still are disgusting. You put them in the milk and they instantly just get uncrunchy,
and they're just
I guess they're okay to eat if you're just snacking on them, but if you're gonna do that, you might as well just get chips.
Get chips, or just put cheese on top of them and melt it.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting the same effect,
yeah.
And you'll probably get a better tortilla chip,
Yeah.
Well, usually tortilla chips are flour though.
Yeah. But it's
anyway.
We've gone on a tangent about breakfast.
Shocking. About breakfast cereal. Well, good news. One of our fine listeners, Jason, and I'm gonna read how to pronounce his last name because you taught me his last name wrong.
I did. I learned phonetically by phonics.
Yeah. Well, Jason says his last name is Privat, as in the Joker was the Red Hood pre the vat of acid.
Aha! I apologize, Jason. I have mispronounced your name a number of times on the show. I'm a terrible.
You still don't know how to pronounce Brett's name.
It's a mystery.
Actually, you do, but you say it differently each time, just guaranteeing that one of the 6 ways you've pronounced it is correct.
Yes. I even had dinner with his parents and asked them. They just laughed at me. So...
They just laughed at you.
They laughed at me when I asked, how do I pronounce your last name? And then they laughed at me and they didn't tell me.
Well, the good news is I mispronounce your last name on a regular basis.
I know, it's such a tough one, so.
And my name never gets mispronounced.
Never.
But that's okay. So that's going to happen sometime. So when it happens, I'll put up a short or something that says it's happening.
Okay.
Also, I discovered today that if we were in Star Trek, we might be putting up a little blue flag saying we are marked safe from the Bell riots.
Oh, yes. Yes, safe.
Which is insane because, not to get too political, at all. But if you look at San Francisco today and how they predicted it in Deep Space Nine, they're kind of almost the same.
Oof.
Except we don't have borders locking the homeless people in.
Borders locking them out.
We have borders but we just don't do anything. Anyway, or should I say unhoused? I wouldn't want to offend somebody.
Yes.
Me. I never offend people.
No, never.
Never. Well, anyway, so we found out Star Trek is actually coming true, and it's weird.
We have to save the whales.
No, not that part of Star Trek.
Well,
That's
we're
not what
getting pretty close, Dan.
No, we're not. We're never going to outer space ever, because when we try to fly to outer space, the astronauts get stuck there.
Oh, too real.
Well, that was the intent. You're like we've made it to this part, and I'm like, no, we haven't, but we have shown that we can't take care of each other, which is sad.
True.
Okay, and moving on to brighter notes. Just transitioning right out of that. So
brighter notes. Let's get them.
We're just gonna transition right out of that and pretend like there's no problem. Because I mean, really, there's no problem, right?
Right, no problem. Everything's good. Everything's peachy.
Well, we're on a website called project-nerd.com.
Yeah. And what did you learn?
If you go there, what have I learned from project-nerd.com? I learned that they have a podcast sometimes back in the day called Press Play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they had a whole episode about Rex Manning, apparently.
Rex Manning. Because,
But...
Save the Empire.
I don't know. I haven't really learned anything. I don't learn very much.
Retention is tough.
I took a hiatus from social media this weekend, so I didn't learn anything.
And what did you do on your hiatus? You ate a lot of meat products.
I did nothing. It was wonderful. I was very tired. Travis is calling. He's not allowed to join the podcast.
I'm not answering the
phone. Let's see. Well, I can see on Project Nerd's social media feed that Java the Hutt used to want to be a droid.
Oh, okay. He wanted to be a droid.
That's all I'll give you. I don't really have anything bad to say about them this
Nothing.
week. I mean, they don't seem to be advertising anything bad. It just seems like a nice little world where you learn about cool things.
That's a good thing. You should go there and learn about cool things, fun stuff. Get your memes. Get your fun. Mark yourself safe from the Bell riots.
Or maybe I'm just not funny today. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Dan. Serious, Dan.
Well, I have serious topics to talk about. We have to talk about the Human Target.
Human Target. Book 1. Tom King. Greg Smallwood. Black Label.
What if it was Greg Smith, Tom King, and Greg Smallwood?
That'd be...
It'd be a very different book.
It'd be a different book altogether. Oh, wow. Nothing but booster gold.
So first off, Jason was nice enough to recommend this for us, though I read it before and love it. Have you made it to the end yet?
I have not.
That's
I know.
How you stopped in the middle?
You
stopped in the part where it really gets good.
I did.
Because you're like, I've got to do work, and I've got to work at the store.
Yeah.
And that store being the Retro Emporium on Meeker Street in Kent, Washington, where you can relive your childhood.
Yes.
And you're like, I got to do this, and I've got to, like, write my own books and, like, be an author. I just don't have time to read other people's books.
Hey, reading and writing go hand in hand. So I read other people's books, and then I have to write my own because I get inspired to go and to do what I need to do.
Because reading is fundamental.
Reading is fundamental. Fundamental.
Yeah, that's sad.
What?
Well, I mean, not that I'm scattered or anything, but on the podcast, circling back.
Yes.
On the other podcast
yes.
that I'm going to go to,
yes.
that's not our podcast,
yes.
If you go there and listen when I post it, you get to hear us talking about Challenge of the Super Friends, Secret Origins of the Super Friends.
Whoa.
My favorite Super Friends episode.
Ooh. That sounds like fun.
That's all I'm going to say.
That sounds like awesome fun.
And because we talk about a comic book from the same time period, we're going to talk about the last two issues of Firestorm before it faded away in the DC implosion. Remember the DC implosion? We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Before the Firestorm was snuffed out.
Yeah. Oh. He was snuffed out like a
candle.
He was snuffed out like a Russian nuclear power plant.
Whew.
What? That was funny.
Oh, wow. In an area you can't
just
go
pour
to.
Some concrete on it.
Can't go to for 30-something, 40, 50
You just put some concrete on it and everything's fine.
No, it's not.
We call that Hanford in Washington State.
Yes.
Yeah.
The downwinders.
Rub a little dirt on it. It's fine.
Rub a little concrete.
Yeah, it's all good.
Glowing glass.
Pour some dirt on it. You're good. It's all good. Yeah, so that's gonna happen soon. And then we probably should talk about The Human Target though, book 1.
Yeah.
Because this book is really pretty.
It is.
This is by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. They got awards for these. Well, Tom King almost got an award. Greg Smallwood got an award.
Yeah.
But I think Tom King has enough of a couple of those like Best Writer of the Year Eisners.
Uh-huh.
So he did win it like 2 years in a row, right? So he's probably good if he doesn't have to get an award, just be nominated once in a while.
He can be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, if you are the best year after year after year, sometimes they just have to give it to other people sometimes. Mm-hmm. Just to spread around the fun.
Spread it around. Let other people have a shot.
And one of the things Tom King does successfully, and then sometimes not successfully, is take characters that he loved
mm-hmm.
and weave them into a story and base it on like really knowing a lot about the history of the DC Comics universe, mm-hmm. which is, I always, as a big comic book nerd, I like it when they do the thing where they do the thing and that thing brings the things together and I have to go to my long box and read other things.
And you're like, oh, so many things. Why are you calling me on my phone?
What is wrong with you?
I don't,
like, we're doing a podcast. Would you silence your phone?
No, it is silenced. It's just ringing up. Like...
I don't. Did I make it do that when I was talking?
I don't know. I'm getting a video call from Dan.
What? We're already on.
I know we are.
Well, okay. This is insane. This podcast is going like I don't know. Sometimes we're on the rails, and sometimes we're off the rails, and sometimes we're like
best
on
episode
one rail.
Ever.
This is not. Yeah. Well, anyway. We're gonna cover. We gotta start because we have 2 books to cover.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna try to do 2 books. 2 books.
Yeah, so we're gonna do The Human Target for the next few episodes. We're gonna do 2 books an episode because it's a maxi series.
Mm-hmm.
what used to be called a maxi series. What do you call these now? What do you call a year of comics now? That's just a normal comic book run these days.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad. Oh yeah, we got 12 issues for you, and we got 12 issues of Justice Society, and then Jeff Johns decided to go to Image and launch his own universe, and so we're not going to give you any more, and we're going to give you a Legion of Superheroes story in the last 2 issues, but we're going to end it right away because Jeff Johns just decided to leave DC and go do something at Image, and then we can't have him anymore, so we don't even get a story. I mean, not that I'm upset about that or anything.
You're not bitter. No, not at all.
Well, do you know how little I get to see the Legion in comics right now because DC can't handle the like DC Comics has no concept of the future, but they do have a concept of the past, and that's why they bring Tom King in to do this. And you know what? This past represents several superheroes that you and I love very, very much.
Yeah.
I see a blue and gold hand with a ring on it.
Yeah.
A ring that makes you fly. Mm-hmm. Like a Legion flight ring.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the big L on it, though.
I mean, that you can see in this photo.
Yeah. I think it's obscured on purpose.
Probably.
We see a hand holding a bat-shaped thing.
Mm-hmm.
We see another hand with a green glowy ring.
Green glowy ring?
We see another hand that has, like, ice cubes around it. We got another green hand. It might be holding Chacos in it.
It might be.
We get another hand that looks like a Russian Iron Man's hand.
Ooh, Russian Iron Man.
We get another hand that has a beetle gun. I mean, who could that be?
I don't know.
Oh.
It looks like a hairdryer.
We get another hand. We get like a hairdryer. Oh, it's like Benita Bazaar.
Yeah.
Against the Bugaloos.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a giant hairdryer, was it not?
I think so.
I mean, what else would it have been? It sure looked like a giant hairdryer. I mean, you know what? You go ahead and talk about who else is on the page, okay. And I'm gonna look up. Did I even say her name right? Oh, I did. Okay.
And then you got what looks like a fire hand, and a hand encased in fire, or engulfed in flame, and then another hand holding what looks like a green sword and has a green ring on it, but it doesn't quite look like a human hand. It's kind of furry.
Yeah,
it's a furry hand, and they're all at the back of this very regal looking gentleman.
Very handsome,
very very distinguished man.
I wonder. Like, well, I don't think he's good for dating for me.
Because he's always getting into trouble.
Yeah, based on this comic book. Well, he doesn't. He seems to be well set in his hypermasculinity, which is fine.
he's a big
do you know who played Benita Bazaar, by the way?
I do not.
You didn't know that Martha Ray played Benita Bazaar?
I did not.
Yeah. You didn't know?
I didn't know.
How did you not know that? That's like one of the most crazy, famous cartoon skits in all time.
I didn't know.
It's cartoon things. Well, I bet that Jason would know.
Probably.
Well, anyway, I don't know why I'm being such a jerk today.
I don't know.
What is wrong with me? Anyway, so we've got... It's been a long work day. We got The Human Target, Book 1 by Tom King and Greg Smallwood.
Yeah.
I assume that's The Human Target on there.
Yeah.
One Christopher Chance.
Christopher Chance.
We're going to find out that really soon, because we get to first page, and there's somebody drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And a alarm clock that looks like it's from the hotel rooms we went to debate tournaments in the early 90s. Totally. That was really from the 1970s because they didn't update their rooms at all. We spent a lot of time in some Super 8s and Motel 6s.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely preferred the Super 8 to the Motel 6 most of the time.
I feel like they seemed the same to me. I don't know.
Yeah, but 8 is more than 6, so it's 8 times better.
8 times better. Yeah.
Yeah.
light is always left on for you.
And no, that's Motel 6.
Yeah, well, that's why I like Motel 6. The light is on.
I'm Tom Bodette, and I'll leave the light on for you.
Yeah, see?
I can't do Tom Bodette. It's like, boom, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he leaves the light on for you, and then it's a good place to go.
Motel 6s were always just disgusting. Like, I think with a Super 8, like, I could expect there not to be blood on the carpet as you entered the room. There might be blood somewhere else, but with a Motel 6, it's very likely there's going to be like blood and mold as you enter the room.
And you usually found the blood in the bathtub in the motel in the 8.
Yeah, and a big knife.
And usually, like, a note that was still attached to the tub that said, call 911. Your kidney's been removed.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
What? You never walked in on that? Oh,
no.
Okay.
You it took a dark turn. Well, anyway,
you set it up that way.
Well, most of the time they only have a shower, so I wasn't thinking about a bathtub.
Oh, okay. Still filled with
ice. So in my brain, you were describing that whole scene, and I was seeing a walk-in shower.
Yeah, fair.
Because you have to upgrade your hotel to get a full bathtub,
maybe.
Or you get one of those, like, bright pink bathtubs that's so shallow that, like, you could put one leg into it.
Yeah, easier to fill with ice.
It's not... The body wouldn't fit in there.
It doesn't
defeat the whole purpose.
Well, that much
anyway, let's stop planning how to steal people's kidneys and get into the book. So right now we have Christopher Chance, and he's gussing himself up here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think I've used the word gussy in like ever
He's gussying.
in my life.
He's a gussying man. Dapper.
I'm like, this is a crazy day. So anyway, he starts coughing.
Yes.
And he's kind of doing things, and he's talking about how there are only some fights he can win. This sounds like real bad. Like, he sounds like he's in bad shape. He opens like the little drawer where the Gideon Bible is, and he grabs a piece of paper from the hotel, which is like the safari. Oh wow! Here's a big yawn in the middle of the podcast. We're doing good.
Yeah,
here.
we are.
And then he's lying on the bed, and he's talking about swearing to God. And he writes on the note, "I'll love you too. I love you too." And it says day 12, and he looks passed out. He's looking tired.
He's looking dead.
Oh, he's looking dead. Oh, shoot.
He's looking dead.
I didn't want him to be dead.
I think he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
I think he died.
Well, we get a flashback. It says it's day 12. Day 11, we just get a thing with a hand hitting him in the face saying, swear word you.
Swear word you.
Yeah, I don't like in this book how they bleep out the swear words, by the way. I don't know why, because it says for mature readers on it. Or age 17 plus. But we can't get cuss words.
Keeping it clean for the kids.
They had to get approval in the South to run this,
Probably.
Yeah. Because, well, I'm not going to go down that road right now. Day 10, we get a BAM. Day 9, it says, I die in prison, I die in a hotel room, who cares? I got the guy who killed me. Day 8, we get a doggish looking hand. Now you're young.
I know. It's contagious, dude.
We're not even in the same, like,
no, you did it over there, and now I'm doing it over here.
Maybe we should go off video. Like, how could we get anybody to listen to this podcast when we're yawning through the podcast?
I don't know. It's third time's charm.
You're not. Wow. Martha Ray.
I'll get the hair dryer.
Yes. I mean, these are some crazy costumes.
They are.
Like, like, you're looking right now, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to focus on the book.
Oh, are you?
We got a whole other book to do.
Let me help you focus on the book. Did this help you focus on the book?
Still focusing on the book. Because we got...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because we got...
Okay.
Day 7.
All right. Oh, okay. Sorry. Day 7.
Day 7.
My bad.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what's happened. I can't get out of the screen now.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like stuck in a screen inside of it. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted.
Oh, boy.
Yes. That's, yeah. And, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
I want that to be. I'm gonna wear that sometime.
You should go for it. I think you could pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it.
I think I could pull it off.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody would know who it was?
No.
Only if I carried around a giant hairdryer?
Probably.
We were looking at more pictures of Bonita Bazaar.
Oh, the motorcycles are back.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, day 7.
Day
Sorry.
7. Yes.
This book is really good, by the way. It's also
is.
the third time we reviewed it. So if we're getting distracted, you know why. Someone didn't. Okay. Day 7. Someone did something they shouldn't. That's fine, and they can face whatever they have coming. But I'm not going to be responsible for anyone dying. Day 6. It's so nice to see you. It's been a long time. Somebody smoking. You're yawning again. What? Am I so boring?
Sorry.
I don't understand.
It's the Bugaloos.
Do you know that season 1, episode 11 of Bugaloos? Did you know that it has an 8.1 out of 10 rating on IMDb?
Wow. It's pretty high.
Yeah. Do you know that the same people who created the Bugaloos created Land of the Lost?
Is it Croft and Sid?
And Croft?
Yeah.
Croft and Croft.
Croft and Croft, yeah.
Yes. What is more obnoxious, the motorbike noises or your fan noises?
Well, I mean, the fan noise is something I couldn't control, but then I got rid of that computer, or I didn't get rid of it, I just am not using it. The motorbike noises are those things that it's like, just, you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
I could go anywhere in this house and it'd still be there.
Did you know that the Crofts also created H.R. Puffin stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Bugaloos are like their minor creation, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Land of the Lost, H.R. Puffin stuff.
But the Bugaloos might have some of the highest rate. I mean, look at this. Like, this outfit.
It's something.
Do you think Anne has anything like this?
No. Definitely not.
Oh, okay. Do you think that Bonita Bazaar could fight the Squatcho Man?
Probably.
The Squatcho Man wouldn't do so well against a hairdryer, I'm assuming.
Probably not.
That might be the Squatcho Man's nemesis.
Yeah, because, I mean, you would sit there and Squatcho Man would have to, just comb out his hair all the time because the hairdryer would just be...
It would make him very unintimidating.
Yeah, very fluffy.
Yeah, he would just be like a little adorable Squatcho.
Yeah, big dog.
Well, anyway, day 4, like a Gnort.
Like a Gnort.
Hey, we don't know he's in the story yet. He's only on the cover.
I'm just throwing it out there. I wasn't saying it was in the story. I just said Squatcho Man would look like Gnort.
Oh, well, day 5, tonight's Daddy John, I bet we'll have lots of fun. Day 4, you're a nice guy, Ted. Oh, which Ted?
I don't know.
Ted Cruz? No, that wouldn't
Have
be a nice guy.
you met Ted?
No, thank God. No, I've not met Ted Cruz. I'm good with that. I don't ever want to.
No,
meet
not
Ted
that
Cruz.
Ted. Ted from How I Met Your Mother.
I don't know anything about that
show.
show.
You should watch it. It's fantastic. It's great. We should do a whole entire podcast about it. How I Met Your Mother cast.
That's a very creative name you came up with.
I know, right? Right off the top of my head, I was like, man, Dan has never seen it before. Let's just do it. Episode by episode, we'll break them down.
I come out with really creative names like Hunya Business for our last episode.
Hunya Business.
Title.
See, and yeah.
Well, anyway, day 3. I'm not saying it again, Guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
In a bang.
Day 2, don't worry about me. I'm already dead. Day 1. We're to day 1. Okay.
There we go.
Everything is ready, Mr.
Boy.
Luthor. What?
What?
Mr. Luthor. Oh. Well, okay, so far what we know, a couple pages in, and if there were page numbers here, I could tell you what page we were on. But some artists and writers just choose not to put page numbers in to make going through a podcast medium very fun and exciting.
Well, they do it just, they know you're going to read the book, and they do it just for you.
Yeah. So, anyway, so far we know this book is about Justice League International, because they're all those characters, and the Human Target. And that's all we know so far.
Yeah.
And Greg is very sad because I just took Benita Bazaar off his screen.
That's okay. I'll survive. I'll live.
Do you think that maybe Benita Bazaar killed the Human Target?
I don't know.
With her hairdryer thing.
Maybe. We don't even know. Don't even know.
Well, whenever she sprayed that giant hairdryer at the Bugaloos, they all fell out of the sky.
Oh, my. It was the heat.
I don't know what it was. It was. Did you know that the Bugaloos are a rock and roll band with bug wings that live in a magic forest?
I didn't know.
Have you ever seen the Bugaloos?
Maybe I did when I was younger. I just don't recall.
Do you know that Bugaloos were on the Banana Splits?
Then I probably did watch them. Because I watched the Banana Splits like after school along with Batman.
This IMDb says, directly behind Benita Bazaar's jukebox was the abandoned set of the USS Enterprise bridge.
Oh, wow.
What? Wow.
The more you know.
The Bugaloos. They're flying there. Flying. Well.
This is the Bugaloo cast. We're learning all about the Bugaloos while we talk about the Human Target.
Well, I mean, sometimes you need to target something.
Like the Bugaloos.
And in this case, the target is the Bugaloos. Okay, I turned off the Bugaloo pages.
Okay.
And we're back here. We have like a Mr. Luthor fangirl.
Oh, yeah. She's like, oh.
Fawning all over Mr. Luthor. And he's going to like a 6 a.m. press conference.
Early. I mean, when you're rich, you make everyone get up for you.
I know, and there's a whole bunch of people there, and they're all going crazy.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna give us free things. I don't know what it is, but it's free." Yeah,
something. they're like, "Thank you, Elon. Thank you. I mean, thank you, Lex. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to Mars."
Hey, thank you, Elon. I mean, Lex. Do you think you're gonna change the world?
They're all gonna get Lexa trucks.
Oh. Oh, well, anyway, Lex goes out on stage, and we're finding, though, we've got dialogue all the way through indicating this is not Lex Luthor.
Yes.
And this is indeed the Human Target playing Lex Luthor.
Whoa. Surprise.
And he gets out on stage, and he gets shot.
Bang!
And then people yell, they shot Lex Luthor, because, by the way, this story is still really good, but it's a little awkward.
Yeah. With things that have happened.
Only because no, don't say that, Dan. Anyway, so
yes,
you know, you're not allowed to joke about it, because if you joke about it,
they'll come for you.
You don't get to be part of Tenacious D anymore.
No, yes. And you want to be part of Tenacious D, right?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, Kyle is clearly the best part of Tenacious D.
Surely.
He went on to make all those Panda movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kyle,
yes. The Gas Man.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, he is... Wait, so if I said... I'm going to make a bunch of Tenacious D fans really mad right now.
Okay.
With what I'm about to say.
Know.
Kyle is Tenacious D.
Huh?
as DJ Jazzy Jeff is. And I just can't even finish the sentence with a straight face. Because you're looking at me like I'm the biggest jerk in the world right now.
Well, because I think you're wrong. DJ Jazzy Jeff has a lot of talent.
Yeah, but when they did The Fresh Prince, he just was like his friend.
Yeah, but I mean, that Sierra song that he did was like a banger.
I see. But as far as stardom went,
I mean, he was on a show.
you know,
time
and
every
parents
every
just
season.
parents just don't understand. So
Dance just don't understand.
Yeah. Well, clearly you're a bigger fan of. Wow, I had no idea you were such a fan.
I always enjoyed him getting
of the Fresh
thrown
Prince.
out of the house. It was always great.
Yeah. Do you think that like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air should have been relaunched?
Well, they did. They
was.
relaunched.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
They did the Bel-Air show, and it's darker, grittier. You know, it's told from a slightly different perspective and stuff like that. I like it.
Okay.
I never watched it. I enjoy it. It's got a lot of drama, Dan.
I still haven't even started watching The Bear yet.
So. Oh, what? Oh. How?
You haven't watched it either, so don't.
I've watched the first season.
Okay, never mind. I guess I can't talk to you about it. Anyway, we get this guy with a bomb strapped around his chest, and he's all mad and yelling at Idiot Hicks, telling him to be quiet. He's yelling, "The beast is dead." He goes on like a gigantic rant, just going off about how terrible everyone is and Lex Luthor is and this and that. And the human target is waking back up after he got shot. And he's like, the rotten coffee is just coming back up to kick me back down. But then he gets up and he punches the dude in the face. Apparently his bomb wasn't really good because that trigger thing he just lets go of and nothing happens. And he wasn't holding the trigger, so I guess that was just the trigger he hit. So anyway, he gets knocked out, and it says, "You hire me to pretend to be you so you can see who hates you enough to kill you. You live, I die, everyone wins." And we get to the next page, and Christopher Chance / the Human Target is having this nice conversation with Lex Luthor over some liquor.
Brown liquor.
Wood with Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
The Daily Planet says the Luthor foils assassination plot. No credit to the Human Target, of course, and it's written by one Clark Kent, who probably should know better.
Right.
I'm guessing he didn't pick the headline.
Probably not. He was told to. He was told, this is what it's got to say. Got paid a lot.
Well, he says, anyway, they just keep going on about stuff. That's a fair statement. And basically, like, I like how they're having the conversation, because Luthor is always dominating things, but Luthor eventually offers Chance a refill, and he's like, of course you should be giving me a refill. It's just very unusual where Luthor's in the depowered position, and Luthor's just going off, but it was all to better illustrate to the community at large the intentions behind these people's hateful words. Man, I love it when sociopaths play the victim.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite things. I didn't do anything to spur on being shot at all. It wasn't anything I said.
It wasn't me. How could
oh,
people
wait,
hate
I
me?
gotta stop talking. I can't talk anymore, or I'm gonna get kicked out of Tenacious D again.
Yeah.
Nope. Yep. Too real.
Too
nope.
real.
Too much. Nope. Got that. Go. Yep. So, cough. Chance is not having a good day. He's coughing up stuff, and he doesn't feel so good.
No.
He says he got some bad coffee. Well, he takes off in his car. By the way, I will just say the car becomes a definite character in this series.
For sure.
And anyway, in this case, you hear I get a big scree, and the car crashes into a tree.
Yeah.
And I guess Luthor finds him, and he ends up at Justice League headquarters with Dr. Midnight. You know, that Justice Leaguer.
Yeah.
Classic Can you remember all the classic Justice League lineups with Dr. Midnight in them?
There was that one, and then the other one.
Yeah,
and then that time before that with him in it, where he was doing the thing.
Yeah.
And
then there was the second Dr. Midnight, and she had some in Justice League number.
And then.
Oh wait, she was in the Justice League. Never mind. Anyway, not very long.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, anyway, I do think. Well, you've got to have the Justice League because of the characters he used.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, we get to Dr. Midnight, and he's like, yep. He tells him he has 12 days to live because he got poisoned.
Oh, 12 days.
By the coffee.
The coffee was the problem.
So, yeah, like, so far, do you think, like, the assassination attempt was real, too? Like, they were just trying to get Luthor in multiple ways? Do you think it was the same people?
I don't know. I mean, it could be, maybe. Maybe it was like, if we can't get him one way, we'll get him another way.
Well, Dr. Midnight wants to get Batman to investigate this, and Christopher Chance is like, yeah, no, I've got 12 days to live.
I don't need him.
I'm going to investigate my own. I don't need Batman.
Yeah, what's Batman going to do for me?
Yeah, well, and Dr. Midnight's like, Christopher, I'm sorry. I would be glad if you came to church with me. He's like, see you around, Doc, unless I don't. Thanks for the pills. So I guess he's not going to church.
Probably not.
So he goes back to...
He's got the Gideon's Bible back at the hotel.
Well, that's on day 12.
Okay.
Well, anyway, he goes back to see Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor's like, yeah, I didn't kill you.
It wasn't me.
Or tried to. He's like, somebody tried to kill you and got me. Simple as that. The question is, who wants to kill you? And Lex Luthor's like, everyone. He's like, well, that helps. So why would Lex Luthor do the thing he talked about at the beginning to try to draw out the people that hate him? He's all like being sanctimonious. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he's disingenuous. It's almost like he is a charlatan.
Ooh, yeah.
It's almost like he's a carny.
Ooh, a con man.
It's almost like he's a con man.
Like a trickster.
It's almost like he ran his own television shows.
Yeah.
And he fired. I mean, wait, I can't. Nope. I just got kicked out of Tenacious D again.
You keep going that direction, man.
I've got. Look, I mean, apparently it's really easy to get kicked out of Tenacious D. Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, life's not a dress rehearsal.
Wow. Okay, Safari Motel. So we end up with the car at the Safari Motel. That's where he's hanging out.
The car is beat up now a little bit.
Yeah, the car's a little bit beat up, but I think Luthor will probably get it fixed for him.
I hope so.
Well, Dr. Midnight calls him. He's hanging out at the hotel, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry to disturb you, but with our decision not to go to Batman on this, I've decided to do a little deeper forensics on what I have here and help out. And we find out that there's some little radiation attached to the poison.
Oh.
Uh-oh. And we find out that the Justice League International, our friends from the late 80s, early 90s by Giffen and DeMatteis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they went into outer space, and they all had trace amounts of this radiation on them. Oh. So they're the only ones in the entire world, one of them, that could have done this.
Oh. It was one of them. But who?
Yeah, and we get a picture of one of the early versions of it, because we still have Black Canary and Mr. Miracle and Captain Atom, who will play prominent roles in the story.
Yes.
We get The people that will play prominent roles in the story, we get Ice, Fire, Guy Gardner, Gnort, Martian Manhunter, Batman. He sort of plays a prominent role, sort of. Blue and Gold, that would be Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Yeah. And Rocket Red, number 4.
Number 4.
Well, it's important to distinguish him from the other Rocket Reds,
because
Dimitri's cool and the rest of the Rocket Reds were douchebags.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
All of them, all 100%. And that's all. They were putting out the nuclear fires, and he came to America to get away.
Fair.
And he definitely didn't turn out to be a manhunter at any point.
No.
In that horrible Millennium storyline. I mean, wonderful Millennium storyline. It's so good. Well, he hangs up the phone. He undresses. He lies down. He turns off the light, and he waits for the night to end. To be continued. So, like, the coloring in this book.
Yeah.
Okay, so the art is really great.
It is fantastic.
The coloring is so good to go with this art.
Yeah. It just makes everything pop. It's like pop every page.
Is it? Obviously, like, you're Tom King, right? And you go get the artist that you want to draw with you.
Yeah.
And then Greg Smallwood puts this whole piece together. Like, if you're writing, before we go to the next issue, right? Like, if you're writing this book, or you're writing this book, right? And you go get somebody like Greg Smallwood. I mean, are you just basically saying, this is what I want to happen on this page? Give the dialogue and then just let the artist go, or are you giving really fine pointed directions?
I think it's a marriage, if you will. So you're giving some of the direction, but you're allowing that creative freedom for them to come up with some really interesting ways to lay it out. The way that some of these panels are laid out, it's definitely very inspired. So my idea is that Greg Smallwood took what Tom King had provided in the Word and just came up with some very inspired panels and very inspired artwork to fit. What'd you find?
I know. I'm just saying that's fair.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah.
I wasn't sure if you're like, actually, Greg.
No, I wanted your opinion generally.
Okay.
And we can go find. I'm sure I can find some interviews later, but I wanted to. We've got 6 of these podcasts, so I don't have to jump into interviews once. I want the initial reaction because the art is so cool and so cool. That's the lamest thing I've ever said, but
it really is. It's stuff that, like, I don't think a person writing this out would be like, oh, and it has to look like this. You might have some direction in certain instances, but there's a lot of things that are just like an artist just creates things that come from their mind because they're like, oh no, this is going to look good this way, and that's how it just comes together.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's how every page just looks. It's like
and it flows, and the watercolor effect of the art is, it's an effect too, right? That's the whole thing. It's penciled and inked, right?
Right.
But it's, and the color, it's the coloring. So I guess it is the watercolor. That's where we get to, though. It's the coloring that pops. And when we get to this next cover in issue 2,
oh yeah,
I believe this is Ice. But the way this is drawn, you've got the faces contrasted against a light blue background with just some white legs. And honestly, compared to some of the other art we see in this book, this cover was probably one of the easier ones to draw. Something I actually talked about last time we recorded this, but I think so. I know I've talked about this before, but going to Todd McFarlane with a big cover of the Violator on the cover and telling him how much I liked it. And he's like, I'm glad you liked it. It was also like the easiest cover to draw, because it's just a big face. And here we have 2 faces, like one behind the other. But it's so masterfully done.
Yeah, the negative space use is just like, it just draws the eye to every detail that is on the page and makes you fill in the rest of it with your brain.
Yeah. Just side note. So the Human Target was in a TV show.
Yeah?
Yeah. Christopher Chance. Yeah, it was an early DC Comics show, believe it or not.
Okay.
2010 to 2011. Okay, so I have a quiz for you.
All right.
Okay. I want you to guess the IMDb user rating of the Bugaloos and the IMDb user rating of the Human Target.
All right, so Bugaloos is 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And Human Target is 6 out of 10.
Wow. You don't have very much faith in the Human Target.
I mean...
What you're saying is, like, he would just let all of his people die.
Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, people probably didn't flock to it, and you're getting a rating for a show that people have member berries for, and then they're like, I love this show, and they just high rate it.
Okay.
And then a show that came out and people are like, what? I didn't watch it. So, I mean, they couldn't have gotten that much. Maybe it did get a higher rating, maybe a 7.
Well, despite only getting 2 seasons,
yeah,
the Human Target had a rating of 7.7 out of 10.
Okay. I said 7.
And the Bugaloos, now, granted, the sample sizes are slightly different. The Human Target has 19,000 ratings on IMDb. And the Bugaloos have 593 ratings.
Okay.
So they have a 6.8 out of 10. However, the US gives them a 6.9. Canada gives them a 6.1. Australia 6.7. France a 7.7. But the United Kingdom, they're like the Russian judges. They gave the Bugaloos a 4.2 out of 10.
Wow. And then the cumulative, what's what's it when pulled together?
Oh, it's 6.8.
6.8. Okay, 6.8. Okay.
So the 0.9 higher is the Human Target than the Bugaloos.
Oh, wow.
Now my chair is making noise. It's
contagious.
My choice is making mating noises for your chair.
Oh Lord. They'll make a stool.
They're trying to hang out. Yep. They're going to make a school of noisy, loud chairs.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw what you did there. I just no-sold it.
You did.
Actually, I realized it halfway through the sentence. Well, it's we're here and we get to a page and we've got a guy making pizza.
Hey. It's early.
And he's like, a slice isn't breakfast. He's like, a slice is like you, Christopher. It's whatever you want it to be. How clever. Day 2 we're at. And he's like, but someone tried to poison Lex Luthor and mistakenly poisoned me. Yeah, we got that. And then we flip the page and they're talking and we find out his name is Luigi. He's not Italian, but I did a job for him once. Since then, he's given me free rent in a room above his restaurant, which must be the Savannah Hotel, right?
I don't know.
That's where Christopher Chance lives.
But I think it's his office.
Or is that where his office is?
I think it's his office.
Ah, I see. Well, he goes up to his office, and Luigi has let somebody in. And there, I believe, is Ice.
It is.
Oh, because she tells us.
Yes, I'm Ice.
And she's wearing a sundress and a clutch purse and heels.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking very Ice-like compared to the Ice we knew.
No, not at all. She's very demure. Very.
Yeah. It's more like a fire outfit than an Ice outfit. Except that it's blue. Demure?
Yeah,
is that the word you were going for?
Very demure, very mindful.
Demure?
Demure. Gamora. She's looking very Gamora. Very Godzilla.
I see. Gojira?
Yes. Exactly. That.
Okay. What is happening right
I
now?
don't know, Dan. Let's go.
We're never going to get through this one. Okay. So, I don't know how anybody's listening to this one.
They're trying. They're.
You know what's offensive, by the
What?
way? That Disney
Yes.
made the Scarlet Witch, right?
Mm-hmm.
The show,
Yes.
right? WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
And then thought that we needed a follow-up
Yeah.
called Agatha All Along,
Yeah.
which we don't need
But
because the story ended.
you don't want the backstory about how she was there all along?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
Not
I
at
don't.
all?
No.
Okay.
No. They told us that she was manipulating things all
Why
along.
can't we just get a Madison show?
This is not a seven like season show where I then want to know the backstory of. Now, like Better Call Saul, we took a character that was a minor character, right? And then like gave their backstory, right? But this, we're taking like one of the two main characters
And then
giving them a backstory. When the whole point was to manipulate this whole place to capture Wanda. Yeah. At least I did watch that show, right? That is what happened.
That is what happened.
Okay. So why do we need another?
Because
it just seems like a
you
grab.
need to know why, Dan. Why did she do it? Why was she there all along? And at the end of this show, you will find out they want you to go along with them and Agatha all along.
Ugh. All right. Well, anyway, Ice and Chance are having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives him her hanky to clean off his pizza sauce.
Oh yeah, he's a saucy boy.
Yeah. Really? Okay. Well, anyway, they start having this nice conversation.
And then he hits the sauce again.
Yeah.
Because he's coughing.
He keeps coughing too. Yeah.
And then he grabs his little flask and hits the sauce again.
And yeah, it's kind of cool because they get a 9-panel grid. It's going to be followed up by like 7 flat panels. Like, I will say, this stuff is so cool, the way he lays this thing out.
It does look really good.
And he's not giving anything away. He's like, I'm recovering from a sore throat. And Ice just comes out and is like, yeah, I talked to Doc.
Mm-hmm.
He told me someone tried to kill Luthor, someone from my Justice League. But they almost killed you instead. Man, that Doc's got a big mouth.
Yeah, he does. He's just telling everybody his
you would
business.
think... Well, you would think that if you knew one of the, like, of them were the killers, you probably wouldn't tell them.
Right?
You would tell somebody that wasn't them.
Yeah.
So let's see, well, if Bruce Wayne's the smartest man in the world and Ted Kord is like the 3rd smartest man in the world, does that make Mr. Terrific the 2nd smartest man in the world?
I think so.
So maybe you tell Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, maybe.
And then he solves the mystery.
Yeah.
Or maybe, since Elongated Man wasn't there, you tell Ralph.
Okay.
And he wiggles his nose and carries his magnifying glass, and he solves the mystery.
Yeah. That
could happen.
Could happen. Why don't we get that story?
I don't know. I kind of would like that story, probably. That would be a very different story.
It would be a very different story.
I think Tom King's keeping Elongated Man as far away from this book as possible.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
But Ice and Chance decide to go for a drive after chatting. They decide to go to the beach. And we get these really cool Greg Smallwood beach scenes, and we get a little history of Ice. She was born Tara Olaf's daughter, a princess on some lost Nordic magical tribe growing up with polar bears.
Oh.
Eventually, the tribe got discovered by an intrepid explorer. At least this is what we used to think. After the great opening, Tora's dad sent her off as sort of an emissary, a diplomat to the world at large. Kind of sounds like Wonder Woman, but with ice powers. Yeah. She joined one superhero team, then another. That would be the Global Guardians, and then the Justice League International. Or at least that's what she thought until a few years ago. And then she found out that her life, like all best fairy tales, was made up. And then we get a very dark page, and we find out that when she got her powers, her dad tried to hide it from her grandfather. Her grandfather found out, confronted her father, and then she snapped and accidentally froze both of them. And then she ran away and made the whole story up. And the little murderer became the sweet princess. So, if this all happened, she doesn't seem like a good candidate for the Justice League.
I mean, she was a kid. Accidents happen.
Well, he called her a little murderer. That seems...
Yeah, I know. He's like...
slightly extreme.
Yeah, very. Maybe he's...
But in relation to what happened to his father, who was shot in front of him...
Maybe he's got some empathy for her.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, anyway, they do some walking. And they're hanging out. And they're just talking about how much fun the Justice League was. And she said, looking back, it was absurd. Everybody should have been scared because they were a bunch of goofballs. And she says, I feel like a fool going on and on about myself and hear nothing about you, Mr. Chance. He's like, there's not much about me. I got the same sad stories as everyone else. And she's like, please tell me. So then he talks about growing up near the ocean and learning how to skip rocks and stuff. And she makes him a little ice pebble. He skips it. And then he falls over coughing again. He's like, don't worry about me. That'll pass. Then they go grab some dinner. And they keep talking. And they're like, he said, all this talk about everything except the one thing you're known for. I mean, what's ice without fire?
The look in her face is like, what? Why would you bring her name up?
Yeah. So she says, I'll guess what happened. You tell me when I go wrong. Doc doesn't trust me, not all the way, so he wants to let someone know what's going on, but who he can trust. I figure there's at least someone in the JLI who couldn't have done it, the sweetest, kindest member. So he calls you. There was an attempted poisoning. This is the human target's looking for it. He just wants to get your advice. Should he talk to other members? Should he keep it to himself? Is it even possible someone did this? Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
So if you take the poison,
yeah,
and I give it to you, and you know that I know,
yes,
I know that you know,
yes,
that I should take the poison,
okay,
put it in front of me, and then you would grab the poison thinking it's inconceivable.
Exactly, because no one chooses a land war in Asia.
Exactly. So, now, it took me a minute to get you there. All right.
I knew where you were going.
I had
a feeling.
Anyway.
Do you want a peanut?
Yeah. You tell him it's fine. It's all got to be a mistake. No one in the JLI is going to kill Lex Luthor. You don't know anyone who would. You call him and he hangs up, and you hang up, and you don't tell him you know someone. Someone maybe I don't know. Someone you know who may be has a motive for wanting Lex dead. Someone who blazes just hot enough to do something this bad.
Oh.
So you decide to go downtown and make friends with one Christopher Chance.
Dun, dun, dun.
The temperature drops 40 degrees. She's losing control of her emotions, apparently. And she's like, I'm tired of seeing the water and not going in it.
Change?
So they go get some swimming clothes, and she magically goes shopping and finds the perfect swimsuit with the exact color schema and exact lines of her general outfit, and puts it on. And he's still cold. And she dips in the water and says it's cold. And he's like, I thought you grew up with polar bears. She goes, polar bears, and makes the Robin noise, the Damian Wayne Robin noise. Yeah. And they're like, it's cold. And they go swimming. And Chance asks her, Miss Olaf's daughter, what did Lex do to Fire that would make her want to kill him? And she says, I think you can call me Tora, Mr. Chance. And he didn't do much, really. He just killed me. And then we get a whole summary of the Overmaster and what happened. And I don't want to remember this. So mostly just in Life of Comics. I don't want to remember the storyline. But Lex did bring the Overmaster. The important thing is Lex brought the Overmaster to Earth to try to kill people and do bad things. And
she got caught up in it.
Ice ended up dying.
Yes.
Yep. And so...
And that got Fire mad.
Yeah. Well, I think you got everybody mad. Nobody wanted Ice to get murdered.
Everybody got mad. But, yes.
I mean, as they were slowly killing off or eliminating everybody that was cool in the Justice League International.
And she was literally the coolest.
They wanted to take the...
Because she's Ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like... I mean, I almost wish in some ways...
It's a cool way to go.
I'm glad... Well, we have this story. I know you're making a joke. I'm glad we have this story.
Yes.
I'm glad Tom King did the story, and we got that formerly known as the Justice League story that Giffen and DeMatteis did. But I'm glad that he's doing the story to build more on some of these character mythos, some of the character mythos here, because, like, really, when J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen did the breakdown storyline, and that other guy, that we don't name, because he's gross,
right.
And then they do that breakdown storyline, and then other people start. I mean, some like Dan Jurgens kept some of the tools on the table, right? But like, they just all of a sudden, right? Like they start just messing with these characters, right? And the dogs don't like it either.
No, they don't. They're so frustrated with it. They're like, ugh, this is terrible.
And then when I see and we covered Ted Kord's murder. Right, we've covered, they did, I think, eventually Jeff Johns and Keith Giffen did some cool stuff with Booster again, making the time-traveling Booster Gold. But a lot of these characters, they just, like, Guy Gardner just goes right, being wrapped back up into... The dogs are going crazy about this. They are mad.
They are.
Guy Gardner gets wrapped back up into being one of the 3 Earth Green Lanterns, right? And then Kyle Rayner, right? And that was one of the things I didn't like either. I'm just like, Guy was the one character I always could have just let die, right?
Let him go.
I could have lived without him. And it's a little bit crazy the way they did this. Anyway, we find out she has a whole conversation with Guy Gardner, supposedly, about the Overmaster, and he knows now that Lex Luthor tried to bring it in. So we've got Ice that knew, we've got Fire that knew, we've got Guy Gardner that knew. And then she's like, but that day she said she wanted to kill Lex. She's referring to Fire, but I knew she didn't, and I knew she wouldn't. She's angry, she's not a killer. So she seems to be trying to place the blame onto Guy Gardner, who I could totally believe Guy Gardner would do something stupid.
Yeah, he would totally do that.
And because he's an idiot.
Yes, he's a bumbling fool.
And a jerk.
A jerk.
So, anyway. Wow. It's madness. It's madness at the Gregg house. Something's happening there. They are so angry about this.
They are. They're like, hurry up. Get done with it.
Well, anyway, we get them out here, and they kiss. And he's like, yesterday I was dead, today I'm in trouble. He drives back, and he drops Ice off. He makes a mistake and doesn't go into the house. And we get the end of the story. and we get a really cool, like it says on the motel sign, DC Comics presents Human Target, Chapter 2, on a whiskey bottle. We cry.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can still smell her perfume on my suit.
Whew.
To be continued.
Another solid issue.
And the mystery keeps going, and it's building.
It definitely makes you want to jump into that next book.
Well, and this is cool. Like, it's been one of the better write-ups of the Justice League International character, in years. And one thing I was trying to start to say, like, in breakdowns, I almost wish, like, Giffen liked to do scorched earth with characters sometimes when he left a book.
Yeah.
And, I'd almost in some ways wished he'd done scorched earth with some of those characters, right? So nobody could use them again.
Yeah.
DC doesn't want to get rid of all the properties, but I mean, he could have like taken at the time. They did use Booster in Death of Superman, right? But he probably could have taken Ted Kord off the table, taken Fire and Ice off the table, for sure. The Beefeater, probably could have taken the Beefeater off the table.
Maybe.
Remember the Beefeater?
The English superhero.
He is, yes. But anyway, there were a few bad characters. But I mean, and it's like too when they ended Justice League Detroit, right before Crisis. They killed off Steel, and Vibe. Vixen left, right, and Gypsy disappeared, right. Presumably dead, and I think, but not. But
maybe.
I mean, but they wiped it out. I mean, they were like, this league didn't work, right? It's gone.
It's over.
And then this other one was their most popular book, but they decided to go a different direction. But I think when you hold on to characters like that, it's hard to write them.
Yeah.
And so, and have people take them seriously. You almost, they reset the whole lineup of the Justice League. And then they did some of those characters really dirty later.
Yeah. Made it hard for the reader to want to continue reading because they're like, why? Why would you do that?
Well, and if that was your favorite incarnation of the Justice League, which in a lot of ways, why wouldn't it be, right? Like, people like to think about the Justice League as, Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. But, and they are to an extent, right? But the best writing in the history of the Justice League was either, right, like, I mean, I think it was Giffen and DeMatteis, and then maybe the Grant Morrison run on JLA.
Definitely good runs.
I mean, there's some other good runs there too, but I mean, one of the best runs is these characters, right? When they were able to play with them, and we mentioned that when we covered the Justice League International, right? So I don't know. I like this. I guess what I'm trying to say is I like this because they're bringing back the characters and actually giving them some depth.
Yeah, giving them something that's not it's not flat. It's a little three-dimensional. Get a little more space.
And it's not just doing what Giffen and DeMatteis did before.
Yeah.
It's using these characters that they created, keeping a lot of their characteristics and traits, but building around that and making them better, as opposed to just trying to put somebody on the book to rehash what Giffen and DeMatteis did as well, right?
Yeah, and giving them the ability and room to do that and to breathe with those characters, breathe life into them, and give the reader something to really eat up.
Yeah. So it's good. I'm shocked. I know everyone is shocked to find out that Tom King is a really good writer.
I know, it's a surprise. He just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's they found him in the New Talent Showcase.
I'm sure when he first arrived on the scene, it was definitely one of those like, oh, who is this person? What are they planning on doing? And then they were all wowed. So
yeah.
But he doesn't seem to let you down too often.
Yeah, I mean, he's let me down twice, and we'll explore that on another day.
He's let you down twice. Out of how many times?
Many times, but he has let me down
twice.
That Grayson thing, I cannot forgive him for. That was not okay.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, you know,
you win some, you lose some.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst.
Yeah. And just kind of, I was gonna bounce into. Well, yeah, we can find this later, so I quit bouncing around here. But yeah, it wasn't. He's definitely like. Okay, so we get out of. So we get the last issue with DeMatteis, Giffen and DeMatteis, in Justice League America 59 and or 60, and it goes to 61. And we get a lineup of, with Dan Jurgens writing and penciling. Never heard of that guy, by the way. Of Bloodwind, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Fire, Guy Gardner, Ice, Maxima, and Superman.
It's a lineup.
Yeah, and then by issue 70-ish, by issue 70-ish, you're gonna have a dead blue. Let's see. Oh, that's Funeral for a Friend. So, okay. So that's Death of Superman. So let's flip one issue past Death of Superman and see what our lineup it looks like. Oh, with Superman is dead, who will join the Justice League? And we get a whole new lineup with Agent Liberty. You got to be kidding me. I've read these books too. Yeah. Black Condor, Bloodwind, Blue Beetle, Booster, Fire, Guy Gardner, Ice quits the team on the issue. Maxima, the Ray, and Wonder Woman. And they just seem like desperate switches at that point. Like this 10 by 11 issues later, you have a different team, and that's fine. They didn't want to write those characters in that way, and I get that. But I hate when they like just get rid of trash old characters. I feel like, I haven't read enough, so I can't say this definitively, but I feel like Gambit's sort of been done that way.
Oh. That's a whole discussion for another time. Because that is a big discussion.
Right. Well, we'll leave that. Yeah. So, by issue 81, we have a Justice League America of Booster Gold, Maxima, the Ray, and Wonder Woman. By issue 91. Wow, we have a big. They brought a bunch back. Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Captain Atom, Crimson Fox is back. Dr. Light, Fire, The Flash, Gypsy, Martian Maxima, Maya, I don't even know who that is, Power Girl, Tasmanian Devil.
Oh.
Can you do the Tasmanian Devil voice?
No.
Okay. Anyway, there we go. And we have another whole author there. So anyway, it kind of goes, I don't know. It's almost like the book should have just, Justice League America should have just ended with issue 60.
Could have.
And they should have relaunched as JLA or Justice League of America, which they eventually do, right? Yeah. When that book burns out and gets to 100, then they launch as JLA. And that's when the Grant Morrison run starts. So anyway, I don't know. It's one of those things where you're just like, why did they do that?
They just did. They just did.
Well, anyway, I guess we should wrap this up since we've been recording for like hours.
Yes.
So, if you want to learn more about the Bugaloos, no, let's not do that. If you want to learn more about the Human Target, come back next week and we'll talk about issues 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I also just say you should be reading this because we're going to spoil things for you that don't need to be spoiled for you because it's really good and you should read it.
You should. It's very good.
I just reread the whole thing to the end again and still was crushed by the ending.
Oh. I will get there.
You will get there.
I will get there.
I hope.
I will. I have to. There's no not getting there. I have to get there. And you, listeners, you should get there with us.
Yeah.
They should.
Eventually.
They've been admonished. They have to.
All right. They have to. They
They
must.
must. It's just what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. We said it. They have to do it. They have to read. You must read.
Well, we have advertised everything on the show. Yes. Do you have anything you would like to promote?
Go check out Absolute Zero's Camp Launchpad. It is.
Is that a book?
It is a book. It's a book that Michael Tanner.
Is it a comic book?
It's a graphic novel that Michael Tanner and I wrote.
Oh, ooh, sorry. Graphic novel. Ooh.
I think the publisher would like us to, say it's a graphic novel because it's more compelling that way.
Really? Why is it more compelling?
I don't know.
Are you saying comic books are for losers?
No, I'm not saying that at all because I love comic books just as much as I love graphic novels.
It sounds like it. You're it's called a graphic novel. It's marketed better.
I didn't say that. I said the publisher would like that.
Oh, you said your publisher thinks comic books suck.
Well, considering they don't make comic books, they make books, and then this is their first foray.
And what's that publisher again that hates comic books?
Dan, why are you doing this? Why are you being a jerk? Yeah.
I'm not being a jerk. This is how I advertise everything. What are you talking about? This is Standard Dan.
Standard Dan, yes. Well, it's put out by Little Brown Publishing, but
who hates comic books?
They don't hate comic books. They just.
You just said they hate comic books.
They hate comic books. I said that this is their first foray into graphic novels for kids. So.
Yeah. Their first foray
into graphic novels.
Them big words
they
for
are
Greg.
Big words for Greg.
Now that's Dan being a jerk.
Yeah, I know. I was reading that thesaurus you bought me in the dictionary set.
Yeah, if we're going to distinguish me being a jerk and me making fun of the people that we might sponsor us someday.
I don't think they will.
But will never sponsor us. No, I don't think they will.
They'll listen to you say something mean about them, and then they'll say no.
Well, Project Nerd hasn't kicked us out, and I say all sorts of weird things about them.
That's true. Okay.
They still run our podcast on their website, project-nerd.com.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're wrapping this thing up. This might be the weirdest episode of Funny Book Forensics ever.
It might not be the funniest, but it's the most forensical.
I don't know. It's not the most forensical, that's for sure. There's no deep research in this one. We talked about the Bugaloos.
That's some deep research, Dan. You went deep on the Bugaloo research.
No, that's a deep cut. That's not good research.
I don't know. Yeah, potato.
Well, anyway.
Tomato. Potato.
Well, until Benita Bizarre shoots you with a giant hairdryer, I'm Dan.
I'm Greg.
This was another fantastical, flying, rock band singing with wings episode of Funny Book Forensics. We're out. Bye.